Welcome back to Havana Group YouTube channel. Today we're talking about something that can save people a lot of stress, regrets, and unnecessary financial loss. Red flags to look out for in property deals. Buying property is one of the biggest financial decisions many people will ever make. Whether you're buying land to build your dream home, investing for the future, or purchasing property for commercial purposes, it is a decision that deserves like a careful thought. That is why today's conversation is very important. We want to help people understand some of the common warning signs to watch out for or look out for before making any property decisions. Before we get into the discussion, please going to let our guest introduce himself.
Okay, my name is Chidera Miracle Ene, and it's actually a pleasure being here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. I am looking forward to this conversation because I know this is a topic that will help a lot of people, especially first time buyers who may not know what to look out for when buying a property. So before we start talking about different warning signs, I think it would help if we first like explain what we actually mean by a red flag. Because when people hear the phrase red flags in property deals, like what should come to their mind immediately when they hear red flags in property deals?
Okay, red flag is like, let me just make it simple. The first thing that should come to your mind is caution. You know, when you're in a relationship, there's something called the red flag, and that
Yeah.
is actually the way it is in real estate. A red
Yes.
flag is anything that makes you stop and then you have to think. You're like, am I going to start this? Am I going to go into this? Am I going to continue with this and
Yeah.
all that? So you can say a red flag could be anything or something you notice in the document, something you
Okay.
see about the ownership story, a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
Then that's the way it is, and or even how people get involved in the transaction, how they behave in the
Okay.
transaction deals.
Okay, so let's start with one of the most common warning signs. What would you say people should watch out for first?
One of the major red flag is pressure to people.
Okay.
You know, just like I want to buy a car and then you're telling me to pay now, no, 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 or
Yeah.
tomorrow that the property will not be there again.
Yes.
When someone is rushing you to make a decision immediately without giving you a time to think, you need to ask questions. You need to verify what you are being told. You need
Yeah.
to take a pause and then you're like, what's up? What did happen?
That's actually very true because I feel like sometimes the urgency can make the whole thing feel more stressful than it should be. Like they will just put like a huge amount of pressure on you to make you come and pay. It's running out. It's still a sales strategy, yeah, but at the same time, you as a buyer should also know what to look out for before you actually make the decision.
Yes, and that is usually where people do make mistakes. You are like a property should give you time to think when you try to purchase a property. It should give you time to cross check. It should
Yeah,
give you time to look into
yeah,
the documents and
definitely.
everything surrounding it, so you can know if you're going in or going out.
Okay. Okay, so if the pressure is too much, the deal itself may look like you may need to take a closer look, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, yeah, that is right. A deal can still stand after proper checking.
Okay, that makes sense. Another thing people hear a lot about is paperwork. What should they be paying attention to there? Like, what documents are they going to be looking out for?
The document should make sense. It should make sense. If the papers are incomplete, unclear, inconsistent,
Yes.
or do not match the story you are being told, that's a red flag. Let's
Yes.
say, for instance, the signature on the irrevocable is not the signature on the C of O.
Yeah.
You are seeing discrepancies and all that. You
Okay.
should be like, wow, what's in the happen? Should we keep going on? Should
Okay.
I take
So
a
that
risk?
should raise a question for you. Like, that's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if one part says one thing, another part says the other, then that's when you don't need to brush it off when the two documents are saying two different things. That's what our guest is saying, guys. Okay, let's look into prices. Like, what about price? Can price itself be a warning sign?
If a property is priced far lower than similar properties around it, you should
Yeah.
ask questions. You should
Okay.
ask why. A cheap price may look attractive at first, but sometimes there's a reason behind that cheapness.
Okay, so I think that is where a lot of people get carried away because everyone loves a good bargain. So
True, but in property, a bargain can sometimes hide in a problem. The
okay,
issue could be with the location, the
mm-hmm.
ownership, access title, or some other detail that is not
Yes.
being explained properly.
Okay, so the better question is not just how cheap is it. It is why is it this cheap. So you need to also ask questions. Why is it this price? Is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. That is the question that helps people think more carefully before they pay.
Okay, okay. Okay, that's a good one. What if they are not willing to show you the property? Like, is that a red flag?
That is another serious red flag. How will you go into something that you're not seeing?
Mm,
If someone keeps making excuses every time you ask to visit the site,
yes,
you
yeah,
should need to see what you are being asked to buy.
yeah, definitely.
You need to inspect the land, check the surroundings, and confirm that
Mm-hmm.
what you are being told or what you are told is actually what's on ground.
Yeah. Okay. So because if I think that's because if the property is real and available, there should not be a problem with that.
Yeah, exactly. When site visits become difficult or the explanations start getting vague, it's time to stop and ask more questions.
Mm,
Seeing the property is part of verifying the deal.
okay, that's true. Because I feel like people should not just rely on the description alone. Oh, the property is here. It's this how many millions of naira without you seeing or verifying where the location is at. You seeing it like on ground, like you're there, you're going for inspections and stuff like that, which is why inspections are very important when it comes to buying a property, because sometimes what you see is not really, when you get there, it's not really what you're getting. Do you understand?
Yeah, no, no, they should actually not look into all those descriptions. They should go into
Yeah,
verification more.
definitely. Okay, so what if people are giving you different versions of the same property? Because I've seen this happen. Like people will get different, you're seeing different versions of one property, maybe from another company, they are posting something different from what the other company is posting. So like it's confusion, there's a confusion there. So is that a red flag also?
Yeah, it's a red flag. If the agent says one thing, the seller says another, the paperwork suggests something else,
Yeah.
then the deal is not as clear as it should be. You should ask questions.
That kind of inconsistency can make anybody uneasy, including me myself.
A property should not leave you more confused after asking questions. If the story keeps changing, then something is not adding up somewhere.
Okay, that makes sense. I think a good deal should become clearer when you ask questions, not more confusing. If you're asking questions and you're getting more confused while you're asking questions, I think that's a red flag to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, that is exactly the point.
Okay, so let's talk about ownership, like unclear ownership. So ownership is one of those things people talk about a lot, but everybody fully, like, because not everybody fully understands why it matters so much. What should people look out for there?
They should know who actually have or has the right to sell the property.
Okay.
Where so, sometimes family can have issues, and this
Yes.
one want to sell, the other one want to sell, this one want
Mm,
to sell, the father want to sell. So if the ownership story is unclear,
mm,
shaky, or constantly changing, that is
yeah.
a problem. Before money moves, the
Yeah.
person selling should be able to explain where the property came from and
Mm-hmm.
why they have the authority to
Authority.
sell it.
Okay. So if that story is not clear, people should not move forward too quickly, is what you're
Exactly.
saying. Okay.
Property is too big a decision to take lightly. The ownership is not easy. It's not easy to verify. That should make you pause.
Okay, that's actually very important. That's an important one because many people get excited and skip that part actually. So I think it's important to actually look into the documents that give people the right authority to sell a property. And if you're not getting those documents, you should ask questions. You should not move forward. Either they provide those documents or you give up the property, basically.
Yes, and that is where regret begins. Imagine a family having an issue, and
Yeah.
then a son sells the land, and
Mm-hmm.
then later on you hear
It falls back,
the court
yes.
saying that the land belongs to the mother and all that.
Mm. And
It's
actually, there's quite many stories like that
yes.
actually happening. Okay, so let's move on. Sometimes when people start asking questions, the other side starts acting offended. Is that also something to be careful about? Because some people, I feel like when you ask, like as a buyer, if you start asking too many questions, some agents they feel offended. What do you think about that?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. A proper property, you should not feel bad for asking normal questions. When someone asks you a question, you should not feel bad. It's a sign that something is wrong with the property, and then it's a warning sign that you should go and verify,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
like P2B.
Oh, okay. So, I think asking questions is actually a part of making a responsible decision. So, I don't see why any agent or any property seller should be stripping you away from that. They should be able to, willingly actually, if you have nothing to hide, I think people asking you questions should even make you more calmer because they're trying to get to know what the property is about and stuff like that. So, I think if they're asking you more questions, it makes you a bit calmer and you need to actually help them. It makes them also calm, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, you're not being difficult by wanting to understand what you're buying. It's just like you wanting to buy a skincare, and
Yeah.
there's no explanation to how to use it.
Yes, yes.
You
Okay.
definitely end up having a burnt skin. So you are just trying to protect yourself, protect
Mm,
your image, protect everything concerning you. Anyone who is serious about the deal should be okay with that. The questions
okay.
that you're
That's
asking.
a very good example actually. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let's wrap it up, guys. Red flags in property deals can show up in different ways. Pressure to buy too quickly, unclear documents, prices that look too good to be true, refusal to show you the property, changing stories, unclear ownership, and resistance to questions.
Yes, the earlier people notice those signs, the better their chances of avoiding costly mistakes. Another thing is that even before payment, you should calm down, know where you're signing, know what you're
Yes,
signing,
yes.
because some deals have clauses that if you do not look into the
Look into it.
letters, you'll
Yes.
be caught up with the whole
That's
story and
why
all that.
when some people sign contracts without actually reading, and then maybe a few years down the line, they are going to court, they're having court battles. So when you have a property that you want to buy, look into it because that's the main thing. Buying property should never be based on excitement alone. It should be based on clarity, proper checking, and the right informations, basically.
Exactly.
Okay, so thank you guys for watching Havana Group's YouTube channel's episode for this week. If this episode helped you understand what to look out for in property deals, share it with someone who needs to hear it before making a move. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, bye.